Good morning. All righty. Markets came back from the abyss or cliff yesterday. Um, Market is tenacious. Uh, Gaps like that, you don't see them come back too often. So this market is overzealous. I don't know. Is it really bullish? But this kind of a pattern, my own thought is it's just one that's going to bring trouble for longs. But we'll see. I mean, let's somehow this banking news or this economic news comes out so amazing. It's just not, yeah, charts. It's just not the kind of pattern that has great probabilities. So we shall see. Let's see where they're at here. So a little unchanged. Nasdaq's down a little bit. You can see S&P's there, nothing, and then I think that was a bad tick in SPY. I don't think that actually happened. I don't know if anyone else sees it, but just look at the buying right into the close on the 15-minute chart. It was the gap down and it rattled around, whipping back and forth, and then it made that dip. Like, okay, and then rallied all the way back. It was as if somebody knows something good news is coming out. The buying patterns like this. So we'll see. Now, this bar here becomes, while it's only one bar, it's an important bar, I think, for the markets to hold from an intraday point of view, since it is a wide range bar. And while this is a messy consolidation here, I think breaking below it, starts a little bearish uncertainty. We'll see what happens. You can see the hourly chart is up into this pivot. So while it gapped down yesterday and it gapped right into support, but gapping, to the bottom of a reversal bar like that historically results in some sideways price action and then rolling over. So historically, what happens clearly doesn't always happen. So now, it's close to this resistance area. Tomorrow, the first banks begin to report. So maybe that hesitancy ahead of that, maybe today is going to be a kind of go nowhere day. Um, Small trading range, big trading range, wide sloppy trading range on the daily. But for a few days of bullish price action, and that hasn't dissipated yet. Tomorrow is CPI. I think tomorrow starts some economic news, yes, and some of the earnings reports. Absolutely. So, with whatever buying there was yesterday, that enthusiasm to a certain degree, which started in the latter part of the day. Yeah, Alex, there's one bank, FRC, that reports, the one that's been crushed. It'll be interesting. I mean, I don't know what kind of earnings they're going to report, but yeah, take a look at FRC, First Republic. It was decimated. That was one of the regionals that was crushed. So little trading range. I tend to think that today doesn't go much of anywhere, even though we got a little weakness here in the morning. And so yesterday, futures had the bottoming tail bar. Jake's telling me that FRC eliminated their preferred shares. Is that what they call an oxymoron? Meaning preferred shares in a stock that's been decimated? That they still can have preferred shares, but if a chart that looks like that, it's kind of a funny thing to say preferred shares. It was a little breakout failure here. It popped up there 5 o'clock in the morning, and then ideally it doesn't break the consolidation. Technical analysis 101. Sharp move up, creates a price void. Consolidation at resistance is bullish. You got a bar here that closes near its high. Wouldn't blame anybody for buying. And it got rejected. So that initially, that's not a good sign. There was room for it to go up. And so now that uncertainty that was created, it's got nothing down below. So it has to create support. So now we've got at least a pivot on the 5-minute chart down here. With this kind of momentum, typically it goes lower. It's going to break that low, which, you know, it could turn into a W on the 15. We'll see. I just most of the time, if things come down with that kind of momentum, they go lower, and there's nothing to stop it here. But we got to respect at least this pivot and see what the reaction is here. Justin, on weekly trades, do you guys consider that the reason the premiums are high on implied volatility is because there is news event coming? Sure. Right. So the idea behind the earnings spread trades is that there's news coming. Premiums are high because of the uncertainty of that news. And then we look at the charts and say, okay, this thing is juiced up based on the charts. What's the probability of it going down? Well, wherever. And then we make a reasonable, you know, assessment of that, and then we do the trade. And, you know, Dan started doing that last year, and he's got a batting average, which he can share with you, but it's extremely high. Irresponsible trading not to add this. Oh, so you're asking me about Costco. So Costco, good question. You know, that is a sale. That was some number that I understand was out there that was coming. And it's not your typical news thing. So every trade we put on, we don't check the news. Honestly, we don't. Now, in retrospect, but the way Dan managed that trade, he told everybody get out of it just based on the way it was acting. So, you know, call it, that was his management, and he can maybe share some thoughts with that when he comes on. But some people didn't listen. And we have some subscribers that didn't listen and they got hurt. And, you know, it's unfortunate. And I made that video. You can, you know, if you're in Telegram, you know, I made a video that night to explain about money management and, you know, respecting the services that you're paying for, and Dan's management that he's been doing this for so many years. And so, you know, credit spreads are, you know, they're an instrument that you got to have the nature for them. And for the most part, I don't, because I'm always been a directional trader, and I don't like the defensive posture that's required to trade them. So it rubs me the wrong way, and I'm not good at it. So I stick to the 0 DTE, or maybe one day. Yeah. Anyway, let me continue so, you know, Dan can comment here. So, you know, this is a little bitty rejection. You got nice 3 bars down here. So the question is, at what point, looking at a chart like this, whether it's this or any other, does it create price support? Now I'm saying there's a void here. Why would it stop going down at some point? You know, fib lines, VWAPs, moving averages, subjective things that if you have enough people looking at it, trader pivot lines, maybe, you know, why would it stop going down? And the bottom line is, we don't need to look at those things. All we need to do is recognize when support is created. So, you know, you've even got subjective things here. Why did it stop going down here? Minor support. Now, as you look at a chart like this, you might say, well, you know what? And I'm not looking at this, but you might say, well, a VWAP kind of thing or even a volume, one of these volume histograms, and you can look at it yourself. I'm just talking out of what I believe would be in this area based on those things. You would have some congestion or some kind of lines here based on that. That would show, hey, this is an area where to buy. Yeah. So that might be somewhere in here, an area on the S&Ps in here. All right. NQ's doing the same thing. They got rejected on the move up. Dow, that got rejected and came back in. We'll see if it holds, or so far it's trying to grind its way back up there. Russell, not as much of a rejection, but kind of erratic here. Came down to the low and popped up there. I suspect, well, two things you want to keep an eye on. The banks, the regional banks, and biotech. If the regional banks are moving up today, odds are this will move up like they did yesterday. This does have a void, but you know, if it can get through here, and I would want to see the other market. Sometimes this one goes on its own, either up or down. So it has the same void the others do, and it's got the same void down below. If it breaks below these lows, so far it's showing relative strength. So possibly, KRE, that's kind of doesn't trade too much, gapping up there. So SPX, take a 4065. I don't think was there any juice there? There's no juice there. Did you say 40? No, 46, 4150, 46, 40 down below. I'm not so keen on down below today. This is where it is. It's got to come down. 4060 would have to break below this low here, but it could stay in that range. It's pretty tight, and the ranges have been contracting. So, the day-to-day ranges now, from what I'm looking at, are now around 35 points. So, these ranges are coming together closer. So as we get into the news, kind of like some people look at Bollinger Bands, and, the bands start coming together. So I guess if you had the band set to something tight, or over here, you'd see the bands coming together. But just look at the day-to-day ranges that they're contracting, and you can kind of see, you can see that on the weekly chart, the little range from last week, which is getting ready for a range expansion. The news and these earnings reports are going to create that. So 4045 is what I've got. But, I saw those breakout failures, so I want to keep an eye on things. They may just result in a move down. We'll see. Market's been erratic. Gold is just hanging out here. And, well, I just go to here. I can do it faster and get Dan on here. Where is my... Here we go. Here we go. 13-week is still grinding higher. It's almost to that high up there. So I think I saw over the weekend, there's now a 70% chance they're going to raise a quarter point. So these yield curves are getting worse as that goes up, and this dips down. It's kind of just hanging there. The dollar coming down to this low. That's up here a little bit. So gold and silver are going to start having some problems. Oil is at resistance. We'll see how it deals with it. For the last week or two, we've been talking about the volatility index down low. It's still down low. One of the things I said was it can stay low for a while. Maybe it could even dip lower, but have an alert up here. You don't have to watch it, but have an alert. That's going to be a heads up. If you're not looking at the market and you're trading stocks. Breath is doing absolutely nothing. We wanted it to come down toward this zero or a little lower to get a buy set up. And you can see markets are on a line chart. And that's a weekly. Let's put it on a daily. On the weekly, it's just flat. And on the daily there, it just kind of dipped down and it's so close here. So I don't think it's got much upside in it. And if it can go lower, that's where the void is. So, and market internals sentiment is still dead neutral. And this is kind of backing off. So I don't see any big advantage here. So we'll see how it goes. That being said, there were tons of stocks that had reversal days yesterday. So we'll see how they follow through. Well, you're it, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, we've been saying, even though we wouldn't be trading the broader markets because no pattern extended, whatever, we've still been finding wonderful setups ourselves to trade. Go through my big interest list here. So KMX was our first earnings trade for the quarter, first quarter. We sold a naked 55 way down here, and I sent an alert out. I'm showing my screen. I changed it. It's lit up. Huh. You're right. Because I can see it on my other computer. I'm still seeing yours, so I don't know what to say. Okay, but Robert sees KMX, but I don't either. I'm still seeing your screen on my other computer.
I think something's stuck on Zoom.
All right, so let me stop share and just try it again. I'm resharing it and I still see yours. Maybe why don't you, Greg, try to hit stop sharing?
I think something is having a hissy fit here in the Zoom application.
Yeah, because if one person saw mine, that's strange. McGraw says he sees mine on Facebook. This is weird.
I'm going to just kill this computer.
Yeah, why don't you just log out totally? Aren't any suggestions for me? I'll stop share again, but I still see yours. I don't even know if you're on listening or not. All right, Greg's not here listening, and I still see his too. Robert sees me though. Yeah, Robert sees it. That's so strange. And Greg's not here to talk to. Right, that's the only thing we could. But I want to ask him if he wants me to do that. Hold on. There, it finally just did it. I see it on the other computer too. All right, cool. All right, so let's just keep going here. Lost a few minutes. KMX, let's bid a nickel to get out. There's a number of these patterns that have big moves, and then there were buy setups, all different qualities of them. Netflix was a good one above the 20 and the 50. It's gapping up here. It's moving pre-market. So that's when I said, let's just try to get a put spread. Microsoft is a big drag today for the Q's weakness. I'm gapping under yesterday's low. Bearish inside day yesterday. 30-minute low could be a day trade short and also a call spread. Yep, Ford, remember we're comparing Ford and GM. Ford was a lot better, although they're both tradable. I mean, this is weaker, but this could be a put spread too. Thomas, so let's keep an eye on them both. A sewer, a beautiful wide range closing breakout yesterday and a strong uptrend. I was hoping for a 1, 2, 3, but it's gapping up. Weight Watchers had some type of news, no pattern. Z Fox downtrend, something's up today, big old gap. Hood, this sector, Bitcoin popping 30,000 is getting people excited again. Coin, let's keep an eye on. I mean, that had a nasty gap down. We tried selling puts in Riot yesterday. We did not get filled. I was looking for a little pullback, which never came to fruition. Our ETF letter, we are long Ether. That's gapping up. So we have we did it right here on this little breakout right here. So our cost basis is like 850. So we have a beautiful open gain already. We're also in this BTBT, nice closing breakout yesterday, another Bitcoin related thing. Mara could play a little catch up. Garmin, another buy setup on our list yesterday. I like that over yesterday's high. S-Wave gapping up, but no pattern. Akamai inside bar gapping up $80. Let's watch that on a pullback. ZBH, I guess had an alarm go off. 1:30. This was in the weekend letter, but I canceled it, so it's just a late alarm going off is all. I don't see much to do there. ADTN gapping down earnings. That's ugly. I don't know where the bottom is. Tilray, little marijuana dog. We used to call, well, we still do. Every time we say Tilray, we say Tilray dog. Another bearish gap near yesterday's low. That's ugly. What's the sector doing? Sector's in a death trend. Look at MJ. YOLO. IIPR is the marijuana REITs. That whole sector just looks horrible. I think this might have been earnings. PSMT, I see one print, will come back. KMX, we talked about. ACI had earnings, and things that do this. Look, it gapped up to 2160, 70 in the morning here, pre-market. This would have been a beautiful gap and crap candidate, but unfortunately, it's already crapping out. Myrna, we're actually in a put spread on this. Alex, remember I told you I would 100% wait. But so we have a 150. So down here, but it's I'm not laughing at you, Alex. It's a risk to reward. You're either going to be happy with a gap or sad with a gap. But we talked about my rationale. I needed a better bias of the market and so forth. All right, so this one's against us. It expires Friday, and there's our 150 strike. So as Greg says, we go into what does he call it? Let's forget.
Intelligent hope mode.
Intelligent hope mode. And it's a bearish gap though, so we might consider if it can't bounce. Well, I don't know. I'm just saying whenever we have a gap against us, if the pattern supports it, we will consider legging into a condor. A W is a big bottoming pattern, a bank, of course. So that's going to move with, and the things with banks this week, earnings season, it's going to be the same old mantra of we know they're beat up, how much bad, and we know earnings are probably bad. And there was a nice chart in Barron's over the weekend about earnings, coming way down from COVID days. So everyone knows that, and the stock's beat up. So the question is it better or worse than expectations of what's announced? That's all. XPEV, yeah, yeah. Yeah, keep an eye on it. Had a big move and it's slopping around here, making a turn. It's, not a tier one. I'd like to watch it more, but sure, it's worth watching. Visa was another one of these buy setups after greater than 100%. I like this a lot. In fact, I'm gonna put that in this window right here. Visa, that's a beautiful buy setup after a breakout. Target 230. Looks good. Spot, a strong uptrend, but breakout failure, but then negated a bearish gap yesterday. It's worth watching. Form a sloppy buy setup, a potent reversal. It's more of a put spread idea. CTOS, we're watching the turn into this gap. I have up and down alarms. Mr. Closing breakout, daily, weekly. Look at the monthly as a double bottom with a void. I said yesterday that I think 400 is in the cards on the monthly chart. We just got to work our entry on the daily. ULCC, yesterday's highs, bottoming pattern. Right, I talked about, we did not get filled. SMG, I would love a 1, 2, 3 for tomorrow. ENVX, buy setup. But see that this is not, it's a buy setup from a rounded top, not a V top. Which is it's just something to take note of. That still could be tradable. You just don't expect a new high as well. APP buy setups, been on a tear. LYV, I gave this as a put spread over yesterday's high. AMT closing breakout with a void. I would love a 1, 2, 3. Siri, I know Alex has been doing well with that. Jack Henry had a positive Barron's, but it's relative weakness. Zoom. This was in the weekend letter. Looks like we have to cancel. Greg, did you cause that with the Zoom problems? You were bad mouthing them. Were you yelling at customer service?
No, my powers are far limited to do something like that.
All right, so now we're going to cancel Zoom because there's no harm done, because that's why I give limits. I say, hey, if it triggers, put it on for a limit, and even if it were now to take out yesterday's high, there's no way we're going to get the desired limit. All right, I got a bunch of alarms going off here, so I'll just take them one by one. Zebra, another buy setup. And we have this as a put spread. It's good to go. Yeah, I had a down alarm on Calix today, and I was hoping it was a bad print. All right, so yeah, we're in Calix, so we use the 30-minute rule. Let me post that. So OLED is good. And then also this LSXMK down alarm went off. Oh no, up alarm went off. All right, cool. All right, this was a nice little bottoming pattern. Let's move stop under this 15-minute pivot now. 28.48. I'll just move a break even as 28.44, and we'll be looking to sell it. Man, I got alarms all over the